I got other things to do.
Tommy's trying to get in here or get out of here. one or the other.
I think he's in. And then like somebody.
You said you're recording.
Anybody look about the
I'm not gonna object to one, that's for sure. Can you get it?
I'll take it.
You want my bag?
You
You want my
okay
bag?
with?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you.
Carolyn? You wanna get
Yes,
your bottle of
please.
water? Go ahead and handle it.
Yeah, it would be great, but I can.
I always want to do
Are
this.
you recording?
Yes, she is.
Okay.
This meeting is open at 7:01. It's called to order. The Building, Property, and Cemetery Committee meeting. We have before us, some of the things that we're gonna go over in reference to the armory, the construction bid.
I guess, man's just gonna
Yeah,
record.
I guess we need to wait and fill it too.
This is the reason we don't have a copy of it,
Thank you
because there
on
aren't
the show,
any.
brother. Thank you, Phil.
Mrs. Williams?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Philip, she opened it and she's waiting on you.
Good.
Armory.
Wanna do armory first or?
Where you want to do it? I just looked, we
Unless
didn't,
you, because they're here to do Swartz.
You wanna do that so they can get out?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of visuals to share with you on the armory, but here's where we are, okay? I think I've explained it to council for those in the audience, so you guys know. The armory was bid out with a set of drawings. Bids were due, I think, on the 23rd of June, if I'm not mistaken. 29th of June, received 0 bids. We have met with the architect, and that architect, we have done some value engineering. One of the things that the contractor said was most daunting in the project was the location of the elevator, and that was inside the building. It was gonna have to be hand-dug foundations and all that kind of stuff. So we've asked that the elevator be put on the outside of the building. It's gonna change appearance. But because we're not using any Department of Historic Resources funds, or any tax credits, that will be, something that would be less expensive, but it will make that second floor usable for public space. It won't just be storage or something like that. Also included in the project was actually scraping. We've asked Ken, the bid was a lump sum. I know you wanted some more itemized, what can we take out? We can get more of that to you, but I don't have dollar figures because it was a lump sum bid, so I don't think that provides you.
I didn't know if our
Twelve and
architect could go along and say, all right, this is something expensive, we could probably cut, or this is.
Well, we're gonna do the demo. Town forces are gonna do the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing demo. We're gonna use either, penitentiary labor or, donations of time and that sort of thing to do the removal of the plaster, so the demo's gonna come out.
Is that included in the bid?
That was included in the bid.
What we had thought would be
Yeah,
a bid?
included in the bid. In addition, the outside of the building, all that stucco material, that yellowish material was slated to come off the brick and take it back down the brick. We took that out. And I think we're to the point now where I don't know, and the architect doesn't know of other things that we can do to draw down the cost of the project. We may still have to negotiate once we get bids back, and we're gonna get bids this time. I've gotten a lot of phone calls of, I didn't know, and we're interested now, and all that sort of. I don't know. It was advertised in the Richmond paper. It was advertised locally, and it was put on EVA, which is the the state bidding website. I can tell you my personal opinion after speaking with Emery from over at Cambridge. If he's not hungry, other people aren't necessarily also hungry. I think there's just a lot more work out there, a lot more money, and perhaps fewer contractors. But I've had 2 contractors call me and say, we're very interested. We're interested in getting going. And we have to have the ARPA money. There's 3 committed sources of funds. ARPA, American Rescue Plan. There's Industrial Revitalization Fund grant application that we submitted for $1 million that was approved through Department of Housing and Community Development. And there's $580,000 of tobacco commission funding, okay? Total budget, $3,885,000, not including engineering and architecture and contingencies and soft costs. Well, that's where we need to be. And if we can get a contractor of record, then we can begin to negotiate. Help us, tell us what are those things that we can live with, the community can live with, the council can live with, that can either come out or be modified in order for us to get some pricing down. But those are the big 3, the exterior finish, the elevator, and the demolition.
To rebid is what
and I intend on putting it back out to bid after I talk to you guys.
I think that's almost a general consensus.
Yeah, I think council had voted to do it. I talked to Ben a little bit earlier today, and he and I felt like it was the intention of council to authorize us to bid. So, but those 3 changes will be specific.
Kind of off the subject, but I think council had a discussion about, allowing the manager to bid on things instead of us having to wait. In this case, it
Especially
would be
being
three
we've already
more
approved them to
weeks.
bid one time,
Right.
we're looking for more bids.
So that's what I told him. I told him I'd
Yeah.
take the heat, but I thought
say
y'all
go
would
ahead
be
and go.
agreeable to
If
that.
that's a general consensus between us,
No
Yes.
doubt, I'm
Yeah.
all in favor of that.
Madam Chairman, before you get any further, have you heard from J.E. Jameson?
I have.
They're interested. Well,
That's one of those contractors that does have interest.
Mathematics, First class.
They're spectacularly good. They did several projects for us in Amelia over the years when I was county administrator there. Personnel may have changed, but the company, if they have the same morals and standards that they had,
They were
they're
amazing.
very good. Yeah. A couple of things about the Armory. We actually wrote a letter of withdrawal today to the Department of Agriculture for that Rural Business Enterprise grant that would have provided the kitchen. For the simple fact is that they require that we meet those Department of Historic Resources standards with the roofing and the windows, and certainly this elevator going on the outside is not going to suit them. We wrote them a letter and we drew our application. So we have a substitute application that we have submitted to the Tobacco Commission for an additional $247,000 for that purpose, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so we've gone to Plan B, but we formally killed Plan A today about 4 o'clock when I signed the letter. All right. That's where we're at on the Armory. I don't think we're in danger of losing any funding because I can use that ARPA money. I'm sure I can make extension requests to DHCD. We do them all the time with these housing projects. I'm sure that we can reason with the Tobacco Commission if we're a month late, but we want to be open for school in the fall when Virginia State and Virginia Union are ready to open. But what I would propose doing is I'll draw down that ARPA money first, and then we'll get into the other projects. And they'll be satisfied that I'm using somebody else's money for
fall of 24, not this fall.
fall of 24. That is correct. Okay. Okay with the Armory? Any questions? Comments, concerns? And that $3.885 million, so you know, is not an arbitrary figure. That was the engineer's estimate or the architect's estimate when he revised it early fall last year. I think it was September last year. Remember, it was 1.9 million when you went to referendum, and then blip, we
He
ended up
hasn't given you any numbers since we met with him.
anything different than that 3.8. Okay. Item number 2, Schwartz Tavern. For my purposes, I know you have DBI, and we invited the Schwartz Tavern Authority members that were interested in coming, but I met with Jerome some time ago, and not much to look at, but I have documents that state what and how and what finish and design the new roof on the Armory is going to look like, or the tavern. And we're putting back what's there. The ridge cap is going to be different. Right now, you have a shingled roof, ridge cap, and it's going to be more of a copper ridge cap when we go back in there. But it'll be the same exact type of shingle. So everybody knows there's a difference between a shingle and a shake. I didn't know that, but a shingle is the scalloped or clamshell shape that is there. They're mechanically made, and a shake is one it's actually split by human beings by their hand. So we're going back exactly what's got it there. I'm ready to go with the project. The cash, believe it or not, is put aside. I have $120,000 of cash set aside for the project, which would include in the architectural fees and also the interior work, because there is some water damage that insurance didn't pay for. And then there's also it looks like some panels of sheetrock or something that are in that back room specifically, and that will be a separate contract, and we'll get started on that one just as soon as we get this one bid out. Okay? But I'm ready to bid it out. I don't think I've asked council for authorization to bid, but I think that dovetails with what you were just saying. Are you comfortable with me bidding it out? It's in the budget this year
You've approved the budget.
for me to do that kind of thing, so.
Obviously, to award it, you come back. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I'm obligated, but I'll go ahead and start with the architect, and we'll get this thing advertised and put in the paper. And he is a roofing consultant, and so hopefully he brings to the table contractors that'll get started on it. And I think there are some people in the audience. There may be some questions. Do y'all have any questions of us of what we're trying to do with the roof? Or the building itself?
Do you have a time frame estimated on that?
Well, I'm gonna give you my estimate real quick. If we were to bid this out in the next 2 weeks, say we did, okay? It usually takes 30 days to get your bids back. I'm gonna anticipate it'll probably be at the September council meeting that you guys would approve a negotiated bid or whatever. And then I would say this is probably, and I'm sure the specifications say, but I think it's either 120 days or 160 days for the project to be completed. Okay, so probably be seeing it worked on over the winter.
And the wall that's damaged, that's included with the roof?
No, it is not currently. What I want to do is get the bids in for this to know how much I got left to
Right, I got you.
work on. Okay. I got 120,000. I want to try to stay within 120, so that's going to tell us the scope of the next phase as soon as I get the bids in.
And damage is from the roof?
Pardon?
That damage that's inside is from?
Some of that damage, I think, is where we had we had some rot on the exterior that we fixed probably 2 or 3 years ago when we painted the building, if you remember. And that big tree was there, and we fixed the exterior, and I think that water
So
damage.
it's not currently leaking is all of it?
I'm not aware of it leaking specifically. I haven't seen water dripping through the ceiling or any egregious, but there are some, it looked like sheetrock. I don't know if it is sheetrock. It looks like a 4x8 panel, and it looks like it's cracked pretty, you know, the tape or the
Needs to be retaped or?
mud or whatever has cracked around it and needs to be replaced. And there's a window upstairs that needs to be worked on.
I've heard that been said, but I don't know.
I haven't seen any water leaking in there now. If that's not the case, then we need to address something quicker, let me know, but I have not seen it.
Someone else told me there was foundation issues.
Well, we'll look at those too, but not in this particular first bid, okay? We're trying to get the building dried in and get the roof on.
Anybody know of any other foundation issues?
Questions?
We do have a, car show or something there soon.
Pardon?
In the parking lot at Swart Tavern. It's a car show or something, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's coming up soon.
You guys doing a car show over there?
Yes.
And there are representatives of DBI here tonight, as well as we have what's called a Schwartz Tavern Authority. I don't know if you guys have met in the recent past, but there are members that have been appointed by town council. Some have deceased. Some are no longer perhaps living in the area. I think there were some questions on what is the purpose of the authority? What do they want to accomplish? Those kinds of things. And who's going to make up the authority? Because I bet you it was 2011 last time there were appointments made. And I looked that up today with Jerome or yesterday with Jerome. And I think it was 2011, that most recent list that I saw where Frankie Wynn came on and some other folks.
Who's currently on that?
I'll run and get it real quick. I apologize.
They're currently, obviously the three of you. The three of us and Frankie Wynn,
Frankie Wynn.
Bob Thomas,
Ex officio member, I think is the term that's used. Mm-hmm.
not a member of the. Would y'all like to see that?
Not an appointment.
No, no. Would y'all like to see more members appointed by council to there, or is it necessary? Cause I know Miss Harris used to be there, she's obviously passed. Miss Harris, Arlene.
Yeah. We talk about it and see, you know, what we think. I mean, we see our function largely as, you know, doing the, furnishing and the keeping, you know, the collection in order and that kind of thing. So, you know, there's not as much to do on that because we have it largely
Cause it's
furnished
there,
now.
yeah.
So, but we do go in and, you know, try to keep an eye on things and notify Philip if there's a problem, that we see that, you know, with the building. We give him a list of things to,
I think there may be
Take
some
care of.
things that, some protocols, you know, I think with DBI trying to get some tours started, who has access to the building, how is the building accessed? You know, all those kinds of things, how are we handling the tours for the events that are gonna be in the tavern, hopefully more and more and get used on a regular basis. But I think it's something that needs to be clarified, so Emma has clear understanding and instruction, who's in the building, who's not in the building, who can come in the building, what are the hours of all those kinds of things. I think we owe Emma somewhat of an effort to kind of give her an idea of what she's responsible for and timing and who else is supposed to be there and doing things and who she should report to on tavern type activities. Is it Jerome? Is it a notification of Jerome? Is it to the town? Is it to the council? feel. And I think I'd like to give her some framework in which to work as far as access keys, who's taking care of things, all those type of things. I think, in fairness, she's really new, and we just haven't been doing a lot over there over the past.
I don't think
Decade.
from the tavern, you'll actually see them not want Emma to be giving tours or have it open. I don't think they'll actually, hey, yes, show it, please.
Joey, you mentioned
So
something?
we've been in favor of, trying to get people in.
Correct,
Have
yeah.
somebody, doing a regular tour. So I talked to Emma yesterday, and we started a conversation, we'll probably meet tomorrow and kind of go over,
In my opinion,
we just haven't
let them
communicated.
deal with it and let them go.
Exactly. I'm in favor of that.
I think it should stay at this level with Ms. Williams' committee.
Yeah.
I don't think, unless you need money or something, you go, it's not in the budget or anything. But I like what you're saying, let's see if we can get there, so everybody knows. But I think DBI and the Swartz Tavern Authority ought to
They're very capable.
do
of
that
doing it.
framework and bring it back from Ms.
Do
Williams.
you guys need any more members appointed or
That's what
reconstituting
I said,
anything?
we can kind of talk about it and see, what we think, because I haven't talked to the others about it.
I think it might be a
And
good idea.
Frankie is
Just recently moved back in town.
just, and I talked to him, and he's, willing to help us, so that will add.
Maybe you could have whoever's in the executive director job at DBI.
Coordinate the
appointed
meeting or
onto
whatever,
the
help
board.
with you guys.
So, not a person, but that position.
Would you object to,
No, I don't want her to go anywhere, but I'm
would
just
you
saying.
object if she was ex officio member of your organization?
That'd be fine. There's no pay, but.
I like to see,
No.
no offense to any
No,
of the
we just
Tavern
want to
Authority,
work
but I
with-
like to see
I feel
some
like DBI
younger.
wants to work with y'all
Yeah,
Because someone's gonna have to
absolutely.
take
to do
take
more,
the
They have to
torch
learn the
sooner.
ropes, yeah.
but
Yeah.
everybody knows everybody.
Are you hitting over here?
I
I
said
resemble
like
that
seeing
remark.
the young. I'd like to see younger. No offense to the four that are on there, but eventually torches have to be passed, and I want to see our younger group get involved.
I thought I was in that.
I think it was directed at you, Grandma. So, you guys come up with things that you need?
Just come to us and we'll see.
You come
And I
on
think-
back.
You're asking. Yeah, I gave you a list, a couple months ago, right, things that we were gonna fix, but you're talking about other things that might come up.
I mean, as far as structural with the
Oh, structural.
authority and hours of whatever you guys are gonna come up with and how you're gonna do it. And
Right.
just bring it back and we'll present it back
Yeah.
to the committee.
The hours of operation are posted, right, online.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Well, basically, the tavern is by appointment,
Right now, yeah.
as far as I know.
Someone is supposed to be there on Saturdays and Sundays. It's 2 people, from 1 to 4. Someone in the museum, and somebody in the tavern.
Can that be posted?
Can it be posted?
Like, tell the newspaper or tell folks they can start coming down there for tours?
Yes.
And that's on Sundays only?
It's on Saturdays and Sundays, I think.
1 to 4? Okay.
did you say also Monday through Friday?
Yes, I mean, I'm there.
You're available Monday
Yeah.
through Friday, okay. All right.
So it's on the website.
And I did update it on our website, and I think it's on our Facebook too, but I need to.
Just do a
constantly
press
add to it
release or
Yeah,
something.
do a press
anyways,
release or
so-
whatever, we'll get the full council.
And just make sure it's set in stone and everything. You don't need to jump and go, all right, we need to post this right now.
Right.
Get everything rolling and make sure it's there and then make the release.
Is that a little bit helpful?
Yes.
Good, okay. Is that a little bit helpful for the authority?
Yeah, that's great, yeah.
But, let's
So
hope that,
who's gonna manage the going in and then out, I guess?
as far as keys and all that, yeah, I don't know who has a key. The town has a key, Emma should have a key. I think Robert Thomas has a key, but I've heard that Peggy Figler also has a key to come in and out, and I think there's just been keys made and distributed,
I don't know,
yeah.
I don't know, I mean,
I don't know who
I've
else
never
might have a
given,
key.
I have a key, I've never given a key to anybody else.
Well, maybe, no offense to anybody that may have a key, but maybe it's time just to replace those and start new.
Start new with the keys.
And start new, I think. I mean, because you don't ever know. I mean, how long's the tavern been redone? 15, 20 years? More?
No, way more than that.
way more than that. So I mean, you don't know who has a key.
1988.
You saying replace the locks?
Yeah, just replace.
You okay with that? Get a new
Yeah.
lock on the thing?
If the DBI is okay, and,
No offense to anyone that has a
Yeah.
key, but it would be nice to keep a track.
I think there's been some spread of keys.
TBI be the place to keep up with that for y'all, and so that,
DBI and
Since
the
it's next
Tavern
door.
Authority, I mean, I would think,
yeah.
yeah, in
and
conjunction with them,
that-
absolutely, yeah.
I mean, I go in there periodically.
Oh, yeah,
Check on things.
we make a key available to Tavern Authority, to you guys.
Yeah.
Certainly to the town, so the guys can get.
I know in the
it.
past, when I worked in there,
Mhm.
when anyone else wanted to come in, they had to come here and get a key and check it out.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't giving out keys when I was in
You
there.
just need a running list as to where keys are.
We will change the locks and we will distribute, that I see 3 keys, Tavern Authority, DBI, and town. We keep one of the
Yeah.
key locks down here. Alright. Is that acceptable? Madam Wayne?
Sounds good to me.
Even if the Tavern Authority wants to have 2 or 3 keys, whatever it be,
Or the
as long as
volunteers,
there's
they
a
may need
list
key for the
of
weekend.
who has them.
Yeah, the volunteers may need a key,
Yeah.
so they don't have to chase everybody down.
Yeah. I mean, it could be that there's 20 keys out there, but as long as we have a list as to who has them.
And those are the only people that I've heard. But I don't know who else may have it.
I've never given a key to anybody.
We can get those keys and say no, you can't.
No
have it.
duplicate.
Yeah, no duplicate.
Bob probably has a key from when he worked
Yeah.
I would assume.
for the town,
Alright. We will get the locks replaced and distribute keys appropriately and get people signing for them, so we can keep track of them and so. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You ready to move on to the next item?
Mhm.
And the next item appears to be, you're welcome to stay if you have interest in all things Blackstone. Bon Secours Medical Center. I don't think you need to give me any answers tonight, but I want to explain what is at your desk. The thick document, of the two, is the original lease. And the lease went into effect in June of 2009. Okay? In 2009, and it was a 10-year lease. That 10 years expired in 2019, and the medical center, for those of you who didn't know, had already been paid off. I mean, they paid the full amount, Bon Secours did, paid
Just kidding.
the full amount of our mortgage payments. Okay? In 2019, they were entitled to activate a 5-year extension. Okay? They did that in 2019, and it'll expire at the end of May and June of 2024. So we're in the last year of that first 5-year renewal. If you read the document as well, it also says they can unilaterally, and if there is no breach or notification from the locality, they can add another 5 years. And if they're choosing, if there's no breach and both parties are okay, they can stay there under this current document until 2029. The second document that you see is dated, I believe, 2019, and that is their amendment to that original lease date, where they activated that first 5-year term that we're still currently under.
Before you go further, is there anywhere in the original where it says duties or things they must? Obviously, I see rent, I see they need to pay for, upkeep and stuff like that, but damage to premises. Because if it's not in here, then I don't think there's rights.
I don't think it says anywhere that the town, or they're obligated to carry the town's workers' comp. I don't think it's anywhere in there that says that they're obligated to provide COVID testing or shots or any of that
Correct,
kind of
but
stuff.
does it say anything about the dentistry?
I think there is something about the dentistry.
And so that's your way out right there, or that's your way to put your foot down and say, hey, look. we
What
need-
I'd like to do is maybe let you guys digest, read, go over it, and then maybe, if you'd like, maybe contact them and see if their CFO or CEO can come down and meet with you guys. And we can explain some of the questions that local residents have. We've done that a couple times with them. I remember Billy and I and Jennifer Beck met with them on a couple occasions about actually a hospital being constructed here in town. If you guys wanna take a look at this, and then I'll see if I can get the CFO, CEO, and maybe I can get the mayor. Maybe we can sit down and have a chat with them, with the committee, or if you wanna do it individually, or with the mayor. And find out that list of things, you know, we had some passionate folks at the lectern last council meeting, and find out, are there solutions to some of those things? And I think that,
Like I see line item or bullet number 37, telemedicine equipment, that the landlord purchased $18,000 worth of.
They have not invoked the.
I didn't know if that was something that would improve services.
I think, I don't use it myself, but my wife and the kids, they do telemedicine, take pictures of their sore throat and cut them off and,
I think they did this during COVID,
yeah.
cause I go to them sometimes.
I think it was
That was offered to me during COVID.
I will tell y'all that I was the chairman of this committee when this building was built, and I worked very closely on it. And when you dive into this, if you wanna know why it's so technical, cause we had 4 cooks in the kitchen. You know, we didn't have the financial resources that we've got through now with Philip, and we had to make some concessions, and, just keep that in mind. So, we were the pauper then. I hate to say it, but it's the truth.
And I don't want us to, you say for us to read this, I'd rather us not kick the can down the road. If you read it and say, and actually make bullet points and say, all right, this is something that stands out, or either the mayor, since he's the one that helped draft this. Cause I mean, it's a lot to decipher through, and you've really gotta read word by word, not just skim it. And, say, look, this could be a point of contention that we need to address.
Well, I will, Mr. Nash, I will point out to you that we better have a really good reason, because they paid for this building.
Yeah, and I'm not
You
saying
know,
we need to
so-
get rid of them, I'm just saying, can they improve their services?
Well, I was sold that there'd be a lab core in there, that we'd have, mental health for, what do you call it, psychology, psychological people. I mean, it was pretty much to be an auxiliary hospital with no beds, is what I was sold, okay? So, don't take my comments that I'm not
Yeah.
frustrated with them, because I am, it's not what we were told. And it's diminishing and dwindling as we speak. But I just think since they paid for the building, we gotta be careful. We better have good calls, is all I'm just
And again, I'd rather
suggesting.
them stay there, but provide the services that our community needs.
Absolutely, and I don't know what we can do, but now, if it's something that Philip and I need to go to Richmond and meet with Bon Secours, I mean, we'll certainly do that. So, y'all let us know from this side of it, what you wanna do.
I think we need to have a discussion and, get all our ducks in a row and let them know that the town, the citizens are not happy with the services. And we can give them some examples of what was said to us. And, some of the things that we, expect. And I don't think that they're gonna do all of the stuff, the mental health and the lab court, but as long as they're working on it and they're gonna start on something versus just sitting there doing nothing,
Even improve that lab core inside their facility.
Would the committee like for us to start taking this conversation in and create an action plan and meet with them on behalf of y'all, or?
Yeah, I think so,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't want us to just keep it in committee and kick it down the road.
especially since you have, with the contract, so you'll know more of what was said.
If that's not getting that in front of y'all, I think Philip and I would like to do that.
I would love for you to do it.
Okay.
What
And
about
read
you,
that,
Lance?
and read the
Yeah,
leases
sure.
and see if there's something that you see in there that you like.
The lease that we just did recently, that's nothing really, I mean, that's just, it's this lease that has
The
all
big
the
leases.
the meat on it.
Right.
And Philip and Mayor, when you talked to him, I was concerned that they turned, a citizen away for his injuries. So we have to see what is that, because we don't want that to be going on. I don't know what happened, but
That's our
he
only
brought that up to
healthcare
us.
provider in the town.
Well, I gotta tell you, Madam Chairman, this was part of it. There was ambulatory services included in what we were told, and the building is built for it.
Right.
So, why don't we try it diplomatically? Not saying that Philip and I are great diplomats, but let's try that and report back to y'all, and I will keep y'all involved.
Meanwhile, we'll review the
Right,
thicker
perfect,
document
look through it.
in case
We'll,
anything
we'll
more.
be glad to do that.
And can we, look at our calendar and call a date for next month and just get back together so we can talk about what happened from now to then, so we can be on top of it, because we don't want it to delay months and months and months.
This week, we'll see if we can put those feelers out and see if we can get in front of them.
Yeah, and then you can just let us know, hey, we did talk, we have an appointment in September or November. We don't want to just keep laying and we're going into next year.
Yes, ma'am.
I think we owe that to the public, and I'm grateful my office can do that and that y'all are good with it. But I think, you know, we should do everything we can through diplomacy before we talk about a nuclear option, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I'm in agreement,
Ready to go? Next item?
yes.
Okay. School buildings and school property. There's been some discussion, for those in attendance. The county was approached about the terrible condition, or the school board was approached about the terrible condition of one of the buildings over there, and the other's not far behind it, but one of them, the one-story building that's actually on the east side of Harris Street, the roof is actually collapsed in and it hit the ground. And we were negotiating with the school system to get those buildings down, trying to help them and move forward and get something done. Our new council said we're not as crazy about the idea maybe as the last council. So we've gone back. The mayor been in communication with them, and the school system has declared the property surplus and has deeded them back to the county. The county met last Thursday night, and I was not there, but the mayor was there. And if you wanted to maybe tell them what's going on.
Well, it's actually, members of the committee, it's moved along very well. The county has in possession the title and everything they need to go to public hearing. And I'm excited that this happened, and it happened through timing, patience, and a bunch of phone calls. And the thing I was most excited about is the Supervisor Vaughn is the one who made the motion. But anyway, they are required now to have a public hearing to convey the property. And I've been assured, and I don't want to get out in front of them, but I feel like if they had the 5-0 votes, the 2 votes to do the public hearing, that they're going to convey the property to us.
It'll be at the August board meeting.
And that meeting is on a Wednesday instead of a Thursday because they're attending some VACO meetings. I believe the date is the 16th. It's before our council meeting. So I'll in the mayor's minute, I'll give a full report on that. But one of the things I'm really excited about, we now have all that property. All that properties are ours, will be ours, and the lease that we have with them will be null and void. So it'll just be our property. So now it'll be up to council what they wish to do with the property. The only promises that I've made that y'all authorized me to make was that we would be glad to stub in utilities in case they wanted to have portable classrooms.
When needed, or?
When needed.
I will point out, we did put this at your desk. You may have seen this already. But for those that didn't know, the pink area, which is about 60% of our baseball and now football complex, belongs to the town. The area shaded in blue remain in the county's ownership, not the school system's ownership anymore, but they're now with the county. This is the building.
What we've asked for is that what's shaded in blue and yellow, both.
Blue is the property, and then the yellow are the improvements.
And if they did want to have auxiliary buildings, the logical place would be, I guess that's to the north of the EX building.
I did some math on it one time. It came out, my initial scaling was about 11 or 12 acres. So, and we've got a pretty big footprint on it with basketball courts, parking lot, all those kinds of things that are already there. Once this happens, I think it would be then appropriate either this committee or Park and Rec Committee to sit down and start really master planning and figuring out what's next, what are we gonna do. We do have the money in the budget this current year to tear that one building down, which is really becoming kind of I can't say becoming, it has been a vagrant kind of hangout. If you guys remember, there were 2 other buildings over there that we've already torn down. The old ag building, and then there was a portable classroom, or a portable music room. We took them both down, right?
I believe you're the chair of that Parks and Rec, is that correct? That works out really good.
Yeah, I mean, it can stay, I'd rather it actually stay in this committee, because I don't see us expanding rec, but so much, it's more buildings and property and cemetery, in my opinion.
And the football complex, we've got the concession stand. I don't think they're gonna be ready. I mean, football's getting ready to start practicing, and I don't think the fields are gonna be ready to go, so.
How's the concession stand at the football field? How's that stand now? Is it finished?
The what?
The concession stand?
The inside is not finished, but we did receive some donations from the county, from the LRA for sinks and some stainless steel equipment. And because I don't think they're gonna play there this year, the grass just ain't hot. I mean, it's just it's coming along and being fertilized and getting plenty of rain. It just ain't great.
They're not gonna play that this year.
I don't think so. So it'll be ready for them next year.
When will we go ahead and put fencing in? Back in?
I can put the fencing in as soon as I get those stadium lights put back up. And Dan and the guys do those. They can handle putting those in.
Done sooner rather than later, just
I would too. Yep.
looks a little.
And I will press the matter with Dan and see what we can do. He, because the football field is a little different than the baseball, he's actually got a lighting consultant that tells him where to put the lighting. And I don't know, I don't think he's gotten that done. So they'll design it and tell us exactly where the poles need to go.
Can I ask a question? It may sound silly, cause I wasn't here when all of this, construction on the football field started.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanna know, the Gators gonna get their own concession stand. Why couldn't they use the concession stand that was already there?
Well, because if you go inside the concession stand, it is filled with items that belong to the rec association, ice machines, drink boxes, Slurpee machines. They just wanted to have separate, and I do think it would lead to a lot of conflict. You know, they've got candy in there, and and their own freezer.
Gators are not part of the rec association?
Gators are independent from the Nottaway Recreation. Yeah. So that concession stand, but they are sharing bathrooms. We didn't put new bathrooms in. So I told them, you got to share the bathroom so that keep us somewhat under budget. But the intention with the concession stand was keep everything that was Nottaway and that which is Nottaway Gators to be separated. So, well, wait a minute, that's not here anymore, and our ice machine's not working, and who's responsible for fixing it and all that sort of thing. So those items in the interior of that building do not belong to the town either. We just own the footprint of the building for the most part.
So it's not like Nottaway Little League football.
This is a nonprofit organization. I would have to read the bylaws and that sort of thing, but no, it's not governed by,
Nottaway have a Little League football?
not the county.
Just like Nottaway County doesn't have a rec league either. It's
Right.
It's a private association. It's not a county.
Okay.
It is a,
From what I read in the paper, it looks like the county is getting ready to implement a Parks and Rec division.
well, I will tell you, probably needed to happen some time ago. Yeah.
It's been needed. I mean, Amelia has one. I mean, all
Yeah,
these
I'm just surprised. That's,
Whereas that same football program in Amelia, the county operates it.
yeah, Buckingham the same way.
The only thing in Amelia, in my experience, that's different is the Little League baseball is still offered at the academy, and that's a little bit more independent, kind of like the Gators are. But everything else, Nottaway County, not Nottaway Rec Association or Amelia Rec Association, but Amelia County actually provides the space, the building and the fields and all that sort of thing for softball, football, basketball, and I'm sure a myriad of other things.
Mr. Gormas, by code, recreation is a county function, and I think they know it. And I don't want to speak harshly of my friends at all because we have a great relationship, and I think they're taking the steps necessary
That's good.
to do it. And I'm really happy with this board.
This town has footed a lot
You have, you certainly have.
for the Parks and Rec over the past 20, 30 years.
All right. Last item. And this is really something for y'all to think about. Chastity and Jennifer found in some of the minutes that there was a referral to this committee for donations of memorial to the town. And I think it rose from the bench out front. There wasn't an application. There wasn't a way to document what the matches were. It was just a series of emails, and I think that the question was, can we codify that process? If somebody wants to put a monument in the cemetery or in Sea Park or something like that, what's the process? And so Chastity found this, I don't know if you found it online or just docked it up. And we're not looking for an answer tonight, but please take a look at this, come up with some ideas. If you want to have a policy, we can work on that as
I
well.
think we did talk about that in the, committee, about a policy and,
50-50 or something. I can't remember.
yeah,
what
they
it was.
wasn't gonna exceed over, 2,000, they had to, whatever it was, they had to pay half of it. We did talk about that in one of our
That
meetings.
the town's match
If we
wouldn't
can
exceed
Yeah.
get Jennifer to look back at, because we want to
Right.
do the same we did for
Right.
Mr. Neal.
Right,
We don't want to do anything different, I wouldn't
Right.
think.
right.
See what that was.
So we'll be working on that next time we get together. We'll come up with a relatively brief paragraph, and these are the things that need to be done. But I think what Chastity's got for you here is an application. Get started on it. But we'll be working on that. And if you have any other questions about any town property, including the cemetery, and I will notify you that they have framed up the retaining wall in the cemetery. And
To your liking?
Hmm?
To your liking?
Yeah, I'm satisfied. I told him, I said, people going to be watching. And this is next to people's loved ones, so make sure this thing's straight. And so he's framed it up and should be pouring it any time. And as well as the bus shelters. There were 5 bus shelters. We were given 7 bus shelters. Last fiscal year, there were 5. This fiscal year, I have an easement for 1 more, which is at Academy Square. So there will be 6 bus shelters put in since we've eclipsed the beginning of the fiscal year. And we're entitled to do 1 more this fiscal year, and that would be the 7 shelters. And my expectation is I'll maybe approach Dave McCormick, because he'll have those 2 facilities right there, and maybe put one in the middle somewhere on that property on the College Avenue side. So, but we have 1 more to put in. Bid, bid, bid. We'll see stuff in the paper very shortly. Questions from the group? Nothing? Everybody okay? You all right?
It's 7:42, this meeting is now adjourned.
Good job.
Let me